Good day, everyone. Welcome to Real Conservative News. I'm your host, Nathaniel Rajkumar. Starting off locally here in Trinidad and Tobago, some good news. The keys to the new central block at the Port of Spain General Hospital campus are now in the hands of the Ministry of Health. Finally, it took long, but at least it has finally been handed over. It was prematurely done so under the mighty Morphin Ghanaian coal pot bicycle, no harm, no macaroni pie. Hold, strain, tighten your belt for the sake of patriotism, PNM, just for a publicity stunt. Now, UNC is doing a whole lot of different publicity stunts right now, but we're talking about this here. It was not ready to be utilized by the staff or members of the public when it was officially opened by the PNM just before elections last year. Earlier this week, Minister of Works and Infrastructure Jearlean John officially handed over the facility along with its operations and maintenance manuals, marking the completion of one of the country's most significant public healthcare infrastructure projects. Constructed by the Urban Development Corporation of Trinidad and Tobago, UDCOT, the state-of-the-art central block represents a major investment in strengthening Trinidad and Tobago's public health system and brings the facility a step closer to becoming fully operational, expanding the capacity to deliver modern, high-quality healthcare services to patients. Of course, the PNM people outside here, they will say, but when did it start? When did the construction start? Yes, we must give credit to the PNM as well. But you see, PNM a lot of the times have a lot of nice little visions, They do have visions, They just barely ever complete them. And they take extremely long. And then, like in this case, they ended up declaring it open when they shouldn't have done so just yet. Since taking office in April 2025, the UNC government has repeatedly challenged the former PNM administration's claim that the central block was ready. Well, we saw the videos, we saw the footage, we saw, I think, even that same minister, Jearlean John, and I'm not sure if Kamala as well, Prime Minister Kamala as well, invited the media to come and go into to see the central block for themselves, and it was not anywhere ready to be utilized by the public or the staff of the hospital staff. So PNM administrations claim that the central block was ready, arguing that the March 2025 practical completion ceremony was premature, extremely premature, because major construction and outfitting work remained outstanding. You all remember seeing the videos and how they didn't even complete the ceiling or anything like that. Not to mention, I don't think it had most of the different type of equipment and furniture that was needed to be able to declare it open. So most likely a lot of money has been spent by this new administration to furnish that central block. The government subsequently revised the facility's opening timeline, saying additional work was required before it could safely receive patients. And this is the thing about it. This is wonderful news, really wonderful news. And this is why I keep telling people. And no one can go back in my videos and say that I am, like a friend of mine has accused me of always shifting sides. No. And as I explained to him, no, if something aligns with my values and my principles, I will support it. I will support it no matter which side, no matter which political party has said something or done something. I will support it as long as it aligns with my Christian conservative values and common sense. So, and my love for my country, and I want to see development take place. But as I keep telling people, the difference now with the UNC and the PNM isn't much, but there's still a difference. And that is that UNC still performs much better than the PNM when it pertains to development, infrastructure, investment into various sectors of our society. And whether it is the tourism sector, whether it's going to be the energy industry, whether it is going to be the agricultural sector, the UNC is definitely going to boost our economy and provide jobs in the long run. Not right now. They're not really doing a good job right now. And they're failing when it pertains to restoring maintenance work throughout Trinidad and Tobago. You closed down CPAP, but you haven't hired sufficient people to work in the new program. But nevertheless, and that is where they're failing in a lot of ways like that. Not to mention, of course, with this continued SOE and the fees and the fines and taxes and using preventive detention orders to keep people in prison when they shouldn't. Those are the types of bad qualities that they have adopted from the PNM, and they have doubled it. They have made it even more extreme. But when it pertains to development, people, UNC will always outperform the PNM. And this is why it saddens me. It saddens me to see what the bad influence people like Roger Alexander, people like Alistair Guevara, even John Jeremy, the bad type of influence they are having on the Prime Minister Kamala, because Kamala was a wonderful Prime Minister back in her days, and even when she was a Minister of Education and so forth. I guess she had her own radical way, though, because she's the one that's basically set the precedent of declaring an SOE in order to fight crime back in 2011. I can't really blame Roger Alexander alone, but I believe he did encourage her a lot. I believe he's still encouraging her a lot. I don't believe that she has good advisors around her at all. Because, Madam Prime Minister, if it is you focus on this type of governance, developing our country, providing jobs for the people of our nation, showing the compassion and love that you had for citizens back in the day, like when it is you felt sorry for the woman that was shoplifting, and you implemented the baby grant, or you started the baby grant for young mothers. That is when you showed compassion and love for the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. Back then, people loved you. It's just that they ended up voting for PNM because of tribalism and certain lies that were perpetrated back then. People probably didn't really like how you imposed even the limited SOE and stuff like that. But nevertheless, you did show a lot more compassion for the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago back then. And if it is that you repent and return to that type of governance, maybe, just maybe, the UNC might still have a chance. Trinidadians have a tendency, they are willing to forgive, people. They're willing to forgive. But you have to do a whole lot. You have to show that you have changed. Otherwise, as I keep telling people, they will go back to their first abusive husband, the PNM. I will never vote for the PNM. And I mean, deep down inside, I still hope that the UNC could win in 2030. But as long as you continue with these draconian, very unconstitutional measures, like the imposing of an SOE to fight crime and detaining people without sufficient evidence to charge them, I'm 99% sure that you will not win, or your party will not win in 2030. And it is sad, because the UNC is going to do a lot for the country in the next 4 years. But because you are infringing upon citizens' rights and you're moving like a dictator that is providing good on one hand, but taking away the rights of citizens on the other hand, people are not going to vote for the UNC in 2030. I'm telling you the truth, Madam Prime Minister. I'm telling you the truth. Anyone that is telling you otherwise is lying to you. You can give, I keep using this type of analogy. You could, if it is a woman has left her abusive husband, and she ended up with a second husband that is even more abusive, but he's giving her more goodies. He's providing for the family more. He's giving her everything that she wants, jewelry and a proper home, a proper shelter, vehicles and so forth, a wonderful, nice car and whatever, money to spend to go shopping. But he's abusing her more than the first husband. The first husband, who was probably really worthless, probably didn't really have a proper job or anything like that. She's going to say, you know what? I can't cope with this abuse. I'd rather go back and suffer under my first husband, who was giving me less, but I wasn't getting as much licks. I will go back with him than to stay under this new husband, who might end up taking my life. That is just the reality, Prime Minister Kamala. Your government is doing well in a lot of ways, but it's being overshadowed by your autocratic style of governance. Stop allowing people like Roger Alexander to influence you in this negative way.
Weather report for Trinidad and Tobago on Thursday, July 16, 2026. On Thursday, July 16, 2026, the weather in Trinidad and Tobago will be mostly fair, hazy and breezy with a high temperature of 31 degrees Celsius and a low of 26 degrees Celsius. According to the official forecast from the Trinidad and Tobago Meteorological Service, Saharan dust will bring hazy conditions, though a few isolated showers may pass during partly cloudy periods. Winds will blow from the east to southeast at 15 to 35 km per hour with occasional stronger gusts. Sea conditions will remain moderate, featuring open water waves between 1.5 to 2.0 meters, while spring tides are currently in effect.
Regional news now. Golden Gate's MP Pia Glover-Roll says she has formally written to the executive management of Bahamas Power and Light seeking answers over persistent outages that have disrupted households throughout the constituency for weeks upon weeks. I think I reported about this on one of my channels recently. Just imagine, we complain about that when it just happens for like a day here in Trinidad and Tobago. And it does happen quite often, but not like every week or every few weeks or so. Probably a few times for the month. So kind of way, we have a lot to be thankful for still in Trinidad here. Glover-Roll said her office has been inundated with daily calls, messages, pleas, and photographs from frustrated residents who have been impacted by the repeated power interruptions. Number one, you can't really preserve your food items and so forth properly. Not to mention your appliances can be damaged or totally destroyed because of that. She said she asked BPL to explain the cause of the outages, outline interim measures to reduce disruptions, provide a timeline for permanent corrective work, and issue regular updates to residents and her office. Do you remember when it had the excuse in Trinidad how a branch caused a nationwide outage? Yeah, that was a special branch, boy. Bahamas Power and Light says recent power interruptions affecting Golden Gates, East Street South, and surrounding communities were caused by 3 faults on a main cable exiting the Blue Hills Power Station. Excuses, boy. I mean, most likely it's true, but I mean, oh gosh, proper maintenance. What's going on? According to BPL, the outage began around 11 p.m. on Sunday, July 12th, and power was fully restored to affected customers at approximately 6:30 a.m. on Wednesday, July 15th. Wow! What the hell? Days later, following repairs to the damaged cable. Yeah, but what was happening for all the weeks before? BPL said it implemented rotational power between the Marshall Road and Golden Gates areas during the repairs and apologized to affected customers, adding that increased electricity demand during the extreme heat has placed additional strain on the electrical work. Yeah, well, but you living back, the government living back in the 70s or something like that, or what? Come the man. You need to enhance the infrastructure, people. That is ridiculous. That is really ridiculous.
The main reason for this was a cable fault along the Blue Hill and Soldier Road corridor. So the teams are presently located at cable fault, and they'll be addressing that today with hope of restoring all those customers within the next 24 hours. It is a major work, so it'll take some time. So we appreciate the patience of the public in terms of us getting this done. We did have some weather issues overnight. Some low voltage lines were torn down, and so the teams are also repairing that. So again, a number of things are happening on the system, but we are very active. We're very busy right now, along with PGC in terms of working to restore all customers that are presently off. And again, we understand frustration and we appreciate the patience. Our customer service teams are taking the calls. We're trying to address and ensure that we address every single issue that's on the system.
International news now. An American citizen who has been wrongfully detained in Iran since 2024 has been released. In a Truth Social post, President Trump announced the American is safely outside Iran and in good condition, thanking Tehran for what he called a gesture of goodwill. No, Trump, that ain't nothing about no goodwill. They're trying to play with your mind again because they realize that they can play games with you. So once again, they're going to try to use this as a way to get you to cease fire again. This time around, Israel isn't part of your war. So you can't bully them to cease fire, to stop either. I think in a way, though, it's good that Israel didn't get involved. From what I heard is Trump told them not to get involved. But in a way, I think it is good, though. Because what happens is when people will kind of stay quiet when America is attacking a country. But they despise Israel even more. Especially the Arab nations despise Israel even more. So anytime they see Israel getting involved in a war, that's when they start to fight back. That's when most likely Qatar will try to tell Trump, stop. We can't allow the Israelis to dominate over the jihadists in our region. So you need to tell them to cease fire. So I think this time around, maybe just maybe, I could be wrong, but maybe just maybe, Trump's decision to tell Israel to stay out of this fight was the right decision. I still do not like how he tries to control Israel, though. And Netanyahu has made it very clear that if Iran decides to strike Israel, they will not stay out of the war. They will get back involved. They will retaliate. And Trump wouldn't be able to stop them. The release comes as the U.S. continues pressing Iran to end attacks on commercial shipping in the Strait of Hormuz. The thing about it is, as I keep saying over and over again, Trump needs to realize, wake up from that Antichrist spirit and realize that you cannot negotiate with terrorists. Stop even flattering them. When you're telling me about goodwill, there's no such thing as goodwill when it pertains to radical jihadists that want to destroy, wipe out the whole of Israel and America to be able to usher in the coming of their Messiah. No, Trump. This has nothing to do with goodwill. That was yet again another game that they tried to play. They tried to play a Trump card in order to get you to calm down and stop the military campaign that you're carrying out right about now. A 62-year-old Israeli woman was lightly injured after Palestinians hurled stones at her car on Route 16 near the West Bank village of Sinjil, according to the IDF and Megan David Adam. Now, the thing about it is you will never hear this type of news coming out from CNN or other mainstream media, CNC3 or anything like that. Because you know why? Shines a bad light on the Palestinians. They only like to highlight news reports when so-called rogue IDF officers or even, any community you have or any nation you have, you will have citizens who are violent criminals. And not all Israelis are perfect. Matter of fact, plenty of them follow the alphabet soup type of culture and so forth, lifestyle as well. But so they will highlight when certain Israelis go and, target people in the West Bank and persecute them or whatsoever. A lot of the times it's because they're retaliating, because they're fighting back. But I'm not saying that some aren't doing it just out of spite and hatred as well. Because no peoples in this world are perfect. No group, no ethnicity is perfect. There's always people within those groups that will be committing things that are evildoers. But nevertheless, a lot of the times the type of restrictions being imposed in the West Bank, whether it's by the IDF and so forth, is because these radical jihadists are always trying to harm Israelis. And then when the IDF retaliates, if they go inside there now and they start to arrest people, mainstream media will bawl, oh, genocide. Oh, your victimization, they're attacking the Palestinian people. They wouldn't consider what has taken place here, The military said 2 other vehicles were also damaged in the attack. Israeli forces launched a search for the suspects and surrounded the village of Sinjil as part of the operation. And then people record videos of the IDF officers going through the village searching for the criminals, and they will say, they come to break down our homes, they come to do this, they come to do that, they come to persecute us in Palestine. There's no such thing as Palestine, people. Palestine was a name given by the former Roman Emperor Hadrian back in 135 or 136 AD, after a Jewish, not a Palestinian, after a Jewish revolt. They tried, for the last time, they tried to take back Jerusalem from the Romans. They failed, and Hadrian said, I'm going to punish you all. By then, remember, in 70 AD, the temple was already destroyed. But he said, I'm going to punish you all by flattening Jerusalem. I'm going to erase all memory of Jerusalem. And I'm going to rename this area of Judea and Samaria Palestine. To remind them of their ancient enemies, the Philistines. That is what happened. Go and Google it. Don't just take my word for it. Go and Google it and you will see. Palestine was never a kingdom. Palestine was never a country. Palestine was never a nation. It was a name given to the area of Judea and Samaria by the Roman Emperor Hadrian.
Bible quote of the day. Psalm 34, 4-8. The deliverance and goodness of God. I sought the Lord, and he answered me and delivered me from all my fears. Those who look to him are radiant, and their faces shall never be ashamed. This poor man cried, and the Lord heard him and saved him out of all his troubles. The angel of the Lord encamps around those who fear him, and delivers them. Oh, taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the man who takes refuge in him.
Folks, that brings us to the end of today's news report. Thanks again to everyone who continues to support my content. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Stay blessed and stay safe most of all. In Jesus' name.